What's up, y'all? Jordan here. I gotta give it a little bit to get going. So what's going on, y'all? Today, so the other day I went shopping and I wanted to make one of these tulip wreaths. I've been wanting to make a tulip wreath for a while, and I know there's a few videos that Coach Mel has posted here on the DecoExchange YouTube page, but I'm gonna do mine a little bit differently. I'm gonna add in some eucalyptus, some of this gray eucalyptus, along with these blues and these white tulips, blue, white, and the eucalyptus. So I might need a little bit more eucalyptus. I'm not sure. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take the tags off these. How are y'all this morning? So, if you remember, I talk about buying florals that you can push the stems up, the parts of the stem up. I like using those because I'm able to make, if I need it nice, tight, and compact, I can do that. But if I also need it nice and airy, I can do that as well too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim these all the way down to the nub. Okay, so just kind of moving those up just a little bit. There we go. Now, the size of wreath I am using is a 12-inch grapevine, and y'all, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This thing is scrawny. It is really, really scrawny, but I think it's going to work perfectly for this tulip wreath because, you know, we're not going to glue any of these in. We're not gluing any of this stuff in. Okay, so I want to make a nice little bundle of those. I'm going to do the same thing with the tulips. And I get my tulips from Michael's. They are usually on sale, so that's where I get my tulips at. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut up 3 of these and 3 white tulips bunches. Cutting them down all the way down to the base because I'm still going to be able to use some of that stem. Even though it's long, I'm going to want to push up some of these greenery stems and some of these leaves, but I want to make sure that I have enough to work with because I can always go back and trim it. I can't always go back and add to it. Okay, so it's the same thing with ribbon. You always want to make sure that if you want to make sure you have your tails long enough that if they need trimming, it's going to allow you enough to trim it if you need it to be trimmed, because you can always trim it, you can't always add to it. So kind of just moving up those eucalyptus stems and starting on 3 little piles. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to start doing is we're going to start making some little bundles. Oh, there's a hot glue string. Something just like that. So you see how all my stems are all different lengths. I've got my blue, my white, and my eucalyptus stem. That's okay. That's 100% okay. Because I can go back and I can trim those. Which is exactly what I want to do. Kind of make them all line up with each other. Now I'm going to get some zip ties. I'm going to move this camera back down. Hopefully y'all can see that. And I'm going to choose a spot that I'm really going to start being able to form my wreath to go around. Now this grapevine is a 12-inch grapevine. You can do this exact same method and pattern on a wire wreath form, a 12-inch wire wreath form if you wanted to. I'm just using the grapevine because it gives it a little bit more weight to it. So I'm going to start here at the bottom. And I'm going to run my zip tie through there. And we're going to zip tie those florals, those into our grapevine. Okay. I'm going to trim those back just a little bit more. There you go. Look at that. And there's no glue required whatsoever. We used zero glue. And look how pretty that already looks, nice and full. It's kind of filling in that the grapevine. Okay. So like I said, this was a 12-inch grapevine. But if you wanted to use a work wreath, a wiring wreath form, you can definitely do that as well. So we're just going to be making some bundles. Okay, just going to be playing around with it. Okay. Now if you wanted to, I'm going to tell y'all, you can do exactly what I'm going to do. So we are going to make our bundles first. Some bundles first, and then we'll attach them to our wreath. Like I said, these tulips do come from Michael's. They have a really nice assortment of colors available. So you need 2 stems of tulips and 1 stem of eucalyptus. If you wanted to go ahead and just add them straight to the wreath, you could. I'm just going to make it a little bit easier, and I'm just going to bundle these all up and make me some bundles. And you really only need 3 stems per bundle, just 3. Good morning, y'all. The eucalyptus came from Michael's as well. And I want to make sure I push up those leaves and that eucalyptus. So I'm going to zoom in so y'all can really see what I'm doing. Just getting 2 stems like that, putting them next to each other, and then putting that eucalyptus right in the middle. Okay? Some more zip ties. love the mix of the tulips with the eucalyptus. So I think doing it this way, sometimes it can be a little time consuming, but you're not running the risk of burning your fingers, burning your hand, burning yourself, period, because we're not using any hot glue. We're literally just zip tying these into that grapevine wreath. Which means you can also, like I had said earlier, if you wanted to use one of those wire ring forms, the plain wire ring forms, you can do that as well. Okay, so I've made me quite a few bundles. I'm leaving all those up there for now, just so I can see how many bundles I have done and see how far that will get us. Okay, so I'm going to just trim down those, and I want to make it to where it's really important that when I'm layering this, I'm layering that right on top of that other one to cover up the zip tie and the grapevine. Okay, so just coming through and layering that in. Oh, lost a tulip. So y'all, depending on the size of your grapevine, it's really going to depend the number of stems you're going to use, the number of bushes you're going to use is going to vary. I mean, if you're going to use this 12-inch base, you don't need very many bundles of tulips. We've cut three tulip bundles, six tulip bundles, and 3 eucalyptus bundles. And y'all look, we're about almost halfway done with this wreath. So depending on your size of wreath, whether it's 14-inch grapevine, a 14-inch wire ring frame, or a 18-inch grapevine, your bundles are going to vary immensely, because when you use a different size grapevine, the thickness of that grapevine is more. So you're going to need more to that bundle to cover up more of that space. Or you're going to have to use 2 bundles at one time, like 1, 2, and then stagger it. So this is definitely something you can play around with as far as making the tulip wreaths on a larger wreath frame. But yeah, so my hot glue gun is on, but I haven't used it at all. At all. Yeah, and I'm looking at these colors. And remember that welcome wreath that we did that was pinks and I said it'd be really cute for a baby shower? Y'all, I think this would look really cute for welcoming a baby boy. Okay, so y'all look how full that already looks. And y'all, we've not glued anything in. We've glued nothing in whatsoever. So that's really great. I've got one more bundle already made, and then we're going to come back through and we're going to make some more bundles. Zip tying that in. Now look this. So this is what we need left to fill in. Okay, so I'm probably gonna make about 5 more bundles. I'm gonna put that off to the side. And we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna make some more bundles. Using my handy dandy zip tie. Let me see how many bundles I've done so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've done 10 bundles so far on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 10 bundles so far. So we're probably looking at about 15 bundles, 15 or 16 bundles to fill up the entire wreath. Oh, zip ties are some of my best friends. I love zip ties. And it's also great to show that you don't always have to have a hot glue gun or a glue pot for crafting. Especially if you're a hobby crafter and I mean just like a one-time, like you want to make something just because you saw a picture of it, but you don't want to have to buy a hot glue gun and a glue pot and all that. This is a great way to still be able to get crafty and not have to worry about a hot glue gun. Cut off my tags. Yeah, and these bundles at this point so it's February 8th, 2022, and these tulips were on sale for $1.99 a bundle at Michael's. So if you're catching the replay, just make sure you're aware of that the date is February 8th, and I remember I know I saw these on sale for $1.99, and it is 2022. So if you're saying this in the future and they're not the same price, I'm sorry. So we've made a few more bundles. Now I want to come back through, and I still have some tulips, and I still have some eucalyptus. So bringing back our wreath. I'm going to trim my stems down. I'm just going to zip tie these in. Now, if you wanted to do it the old-fashioned way of gluing these bundles in, you can do that as well. You don't have to do it the exact same way I'm doing it. I just figured that this one might be just a little bit easier to do. Through that grapevine, setting it down. Through again. And we're about at the point where we first started. I'm going to add this one in, and there's still going to be a gap there. Okay, so this is where we first started, and you see this gap right here, y'all? You don't want that to be the ending point. You want to take another one of these bundles, and I want to trim these down a little bit smaller than what my other ones have been. I'm going to take a zip tie, and we are going to put it on that, around that grapevine. Okay, so I put that zip tie, let's see if I can zoom in on it for y'all. I put that zip tie right here. And the reason for that is because this bundle is going to be small, and I'm going to run that right back behind that first bundle we stuck in there. sure to secure it in. And you know, look how pretty this wreath looks. I love the mixture of that eucalyptus and the blue tulips and the white. I absolutely love this. Now, upon inspecting it, there are some spots that do need to be filled in. Like right here, there's a gap that I can see. Maybe you guys can see it as well. But I'm going to go ahead and use one of my last bundles that I made. And we're going to just come through and kind of just fill that gap in. So I'm going to just take a zip tie and zip tie that last bundle in that I made. Oops, there's a tulip. Yeah, these tulips do come off pretty easily, so just be careful when you're manipulating them. So, right here, I'm noticing there's a big gap. So that's why I like to always make sure I have extras, because I can go back through and add in extras if I need to. So right here, there's a nice big gap right here. So I want to make about 2 more bundles, and we're going to put them right in there. Okay. That's one thing I know. I always try and make sure I have extra, because you just never know whenever you're going to need that extra little bit. Maybe 2 bundles. 2 extra bundles. Let's see. So for this project, I cut up 3 bundles of white tulips, 3 bundles of blue tulips, and 3 bundles of eucalyptus. And I used a 12-inch grapevine wreath. So I'm just coming back in, just trimming those stems. Am I out of zip ties? Yes, I am. I gotta get one more zip tie. Just zip tying that in. So is it always necessary to go back through and kind of fill in some of those gaps? I think it is, especially if you're going to sell this. But if you're making it for yourself and you're happy with just the one layer, then that's perfectly fine for you. I'm making sure that I'm going back through and I'm just filling in those little gaps that I see. And I'm doing that because I still have some tulips and some eucalyptus to work with. Okay, so we are just going back through and we're just adding these stems into my grapevine, these bundles. So I need one more. I can see I need one more. Just making my bundle with my tulips. There we go. I'm going to just add that into the grapevine as well. Kind of making sure to hide my stems. By moving in some of those florals. Oops. Yeah, and the tulips come in so many different colors. I just like this color combination. I think it's really pretty for spring. You see right here, another gap. So we're gonna come through, and I want to make another bundle of tulips and eucalyptus. Like I said, these heads kind of pop off just a little bit easy, but they come right back. You can snap them right back on. And it actually works out because this is my last stem of eucalyptus that I have. So we did use all 3 eucalyptus bushes. So right here is where I saw that problem spot. And now we've made this a really nice full tulip wreath. Now on these tulip stems I have 3 stems of blue and 2 stems of white left. Okay, you'll look how pretty that looks. Now what you could do with these leftover stems is, if you did have a hot glue gun, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and just kind of glue these in randomly into that grapevine. No rhyme or reason, kind of just looking to see where I might have too much eucalyptus or whatever it may be. The silverish white color leaves are, they're called eucalyptus. So coming through, and I'm just putting to use my pieces that I had left over. If you don't have any pieces left over, that's perfectly fine. I just happen to have those pieces left over, and might as well get some use out of them instead of throwing them away. Just coming through. Like I said, just kind of finding random spots that I feel might need some tulip love. And this is our last bundle of tulips. I'm going it right up here. You know, I keep all the little grasses and the leaves that come on it. I don't take any of that off because it's gonna fill up your wreath even more if you keep those on there. Okay. So y'all, look how pretty this tulip wreath came out. Now, like I said, if you're using a larger grapevine, the amount of bushes you're gonna need is going to drastically differ. This I used three bushes of white tulips, 3 bushes of blue tulips, and 3 bushes of the eucalyptus. So that's how many I used for this. This was a 12-inch grapevine. Now, like I said, you're going to want to possibly double and maybe sometimes even triple that for the other sizes of grapevines. So I would say you would probably need 6 of each color and of each bush for the 14 and 16-inch grapevines, and I would probably say 9 to 10 of each color for an 18-inch grapevine. Okay. But yeah, look how pretty this looks. It's not big or extravagant. This is actually really perfect. This is a perfect size, not only just for your door, but for like an assisted living home or a nursing home, whatever it may be. If your loved one's there and then they're allowed to have some decoration on their door, this would be the perfect option for that because it's not big and it's not overpowering like a deco mesh wreath or one of the big grapevine wreaths. This also works perfectly for a mommy to be wreath if they wanted something to hang on at the hospital, on the hospital door, something perfect. Now I would go and add like a ribbon hanger on it, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. I think it looks perfect as is, just like this. So great options. Not only can you put this on your door, but y'all, look how pretty it looks just setting on that table. Now if I had a vase or something here, something like that, look how pretty that would look if it was like a candle, one of those hurricane lamps like this. Y'all, hear me out. A wedding centerpiece, if you wanted something in the center of the tables. Now you'll need to make a lot of them, but if you did that, you could it's not too big and it's not too small. Now there are some smaller grapevines you can apply some of the same methods to doing that as well. But I'm just thinking about it, y'all. Every wedding I've ever been to, they always do like wedding favors for like the family or the bridesmaids or the groomsmen, whatever it may be. Y'all, imagine if you had these on the table but you weren't gonna keep them afterwards. You could give this as a gift to them for like a thank you for being a part of my wedding. We really appreciate it. Here's a token for you. That way they can always remember your wedding or whatever it may be. And they also have a pretty wreath to hang on their door. Okay? So, I mean, the options are really kind of endless. So, we've already said baby shower, nursery, hospital, door wreath, nursing home door wreath, wedding centerpiece. So, y'all, I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless. If I did this as a wedding centerpiece, I would definitely have a candle in a clear vase right in the middle of this. Okay? So, y'all, thank you for joining me. I'm so glad. I hope y'all enjoyed this and I hope y'all learned something from this. But that's all I have for today. and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.